Hi, this is Dr. John Bergduff. In this video, we're going to briefly explore simply how do you read a base 10 numeral. The standard numerals that we're used to using, which are of Hindu-Arabic descent. Here is a very large base 10 contemporary Hindu-Arabic numeral, which we will simply from now on refer to as base 10 numeral. And the genius of the Hindu-Arabic system, or the base 10 system, is that you only have to have 10 digits, 0 and then 1 through 9, and by putting them in different places, they mean different things. Not only do we have place values, but we have groups of place values. So if I can start first of all with place values, we know, for example, that this 9 is in the ones place, and the 8 is in the tens place, and the 1 is in the hundreds place. And that works just fine. But I also want to notice that when we write a very large base 10 numeral, we put the digits in groups of 3, that you can see right here, because those groups of 3s represent groups of place values. Let me explore that a little bit. Hold on just a second. This first group of 3 we could think of as the units group. And you might say, well, wait, units is a place value, but for a moment, bear with me. I'm going to call that the units group. I'm going to refer to this group as the thousands group, this group as the millions group, and finally this group as the billions group. And you can go on to the trillions and the quadrillions and as far as you need to go. Now, why am I referring to these as groups? Let's talk about the thousands group particularly, these 3 digits right in here. If you think about the place value, we call this place the thousands. We call this place the 10,000s. And we call this place the hundred thousands. And I want to emphasize in here that we talk about 10,000s and 100,000s. Look at how this connects into what we would be doing in the units group. We have our units, we have our tens, we have our hundreds. Then we have the thousands. We have thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. That group all builds on the idea of the word thousand. In the millions place, you have the millions, the 10 millions, and the 100 millions. So within any individual group, you have just the basic element, units, thousands, millions or billions or so forth. Then you have the 10 of those group and the 100 of those group. And that just allows us to use many of the same words and symbols over and over and over again. So when you read a base 10 numeral, you read it by groups in this form. So for example, if we begin with the first group to the left, which is let me remind myself, that would be units, thousands, millions, billions. So we're in the billions group. Rather than saying 400 billion, 70 billion, 3 billion, we name the group. So I would refer to that as 473 billion, which I'm going to write on words to be complete in just a minute. And then my millions form a group, and my thousands form a group, and my units form a group. And so I can write out the word in that fashion. So with all that in mind, let's see if we can completely write out this numeral in words. I believe we would do it like this. We would say 400 73 billion, comma, and notice there is no 100 million, so we would simply say 32 million, comma, 690, oops, sorry, 95,000, comma, 189. Emphasizing both place value and groups of place values, billions, millions, thousands, and units. A couple important notes here. Notice that I put the commas in the words exactly where the commas in the numeral would go and nowhere else. I would not, for example, and don't do this, I would not put a comma right here, because that is within the middle of a group. That we do not want to do. Also, notice that we never use the word and. To be completely accurate, you should never use the word and when naming a whole number like this. The only place you use an and is going to show up later when you have a decimal point. So although this is a little beyond the scope of this lesson, if I was looking at 32.15, and again, this is a little bit beyond the scope of this lesson, but just to emphasize where the and goes, you would write this as 32 and 15 hundredths, and we'll explain decimal places later. But I just want to emphasize that in proper numerical etiquette, the word and is only used when you hit a decimal point. So that last little part is a little beyond the scope of this lesson, but the emphasis is simply how do you read a base 10 numeral properly, and I hope this example is helpful.